Torozani tribe, Torozani. If you are here, you are tuned in, please send a greeting and let me know where you're from. It is Thursday, and we are back again with an enlightening, inspiring, motivating, uplifting, healing conversation. So let's just wait for people to come through. As you know, we are very new into navigating dual streaming, which we are live on Facebook and we are live on YouTube. Um, so I can see Togoza Koko Katlego is here. Great. So basically, just do a Togoza and let me know where you're from. It's good when I see the Facebook tribe, because for the longest of time, the community in Facebook was struggling to be part of the live streams because they were exclusive on Instagram. Yes, we did do YouTube, but some people also still struggle to join YouTube. So it's really pleasant to see that we can be able to reach out to as many people as we could. For those who are new, this is GokuKnow Ndlanzi, an African spiritual healer and teacher who's trained as a Sangoma and practices as such, and is also a Gobela, meaning an initiator of other Sangomas, Heal Your Life teacher. I'm a, relationship coach, facilitator, and so on. And I'm school of warrior school. So basically about psychospiritual healing, understanding and how love it. I maybe not as many of us can join because stage 6 load shedding, we had no electricity. 4 just came back at 8 and I left my laptop at Cosmo City, so I was patient, well, actually eagerly waiting for Kulu to come with it here. So it feels like you're actually going live into a studio. So we've got Giovanni from Pinetown, Lila from Bloemfontein, Ntabeni, Notando from Parktown West. Okay, this is interesting. I made tea. Yo, I don't know. I can't drink the tea. It tastes like imbiza. And not imbiza, like inyongo, what's going on. Maybe it's the honey. But it tastes like ngipuza imbiza. So greetings. Okay. Lerato from Bloemfontein. Soli from Siabusa. Sibonelo from Qabeja, Palesa. It's always good for me to see where the tribe is tuning from. Linda from Namibia. You see, we do have tribe members in the diaspora. So in that way, I know that I should use mainstream language, which is English, to make sure that everybody follows the teachings. We've got Audra from Kingstown. We've got Ndogozo from the US. Um, Elizabeth from Vanderbilt Park. Homutseng from Northwestern Mahikeng. Uh, yes, Buipifo from Botswana. Sihle from Cape Town. Disebo from Free State. Portia from Eastern Cape. Neo Singef Dumela Melwena. Oh, I've got a neighbor of Cosmo City. Great. Val. Well, we've got a lot of people from different. So we are actually from Siabulela, from Eswatini, Emalangeni, Eswatini Gwalanga. Labacetsa libomba kuhlehletela. Laba bakakunene. Ngele from Botswana. So it's good. Actually, Botswana flag is very distinctive, so I can identify it. Yes, we've got Jeremy from the Congo. That's one of my actually dream destinations. Veronica from Free State, Lesego from Diepkloof, Lungi from Bedford View, Relebohile from Rodiport, my neighbor. So Jabulile Mthethwa from Olifantsfontein, De Boer from Vaal, Pretoria, Durban, Amsterdam. That's Rosita. So you see, we've got a very diverse tribe. We've got a tribe that is everywhere. Please remember, if you're on YouTube, even on Facebook, follow the page, like it, and make sure you put your notifications on, because I don't need to post to remind people that I'm going to be live. It just would remind you. You'll get a notification that GokuKnow is live. So you don't have to ask me, Goko, when are you going live? It will tell you. So even if we do miss our normal schedule, so do note that we're most probably going to go live 9 p.m. South African time. Yet, or however, because we are currently on stage 6 load shedding, so fortunately, I did check the schedule before I posted the reminder to say I will be back by 9. If not, I will communicate, but we will at least have a live once a week. There might be a week in July where it might be a bit of a struggle because so that week, so I might not be able to come live, but I will do the best I can, even if it's for a few minutes, because I am committed to coming here and doing the teachings. So today, what are we talking about? We are talking about building healthy relationships, and I'm talking about building healthy relationships with money, with partners, with friends, with family, with your job, so all with food, with everything that you are in connection with, you are in relation with, it's what we're going to be talking about. So I'm going to set the tone. But before I set the tone, I want to ask you two things. And I want you to close your eyes for me when I start. And in the next couple of streams, I'm going to bring in guided meditation, just to set the space and set the tone, because I'm inviting not only your headspace, but I'm also inviting your spirit self. I'm inviting your soul into this conversation. As a spiritual healer, it means that, the core of my work is reaching to soul and spirit, because the core of our essence is spirit. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. So when I am doing teachings, I want to get to your essence, because in your essence, this is where your wisdom is. In your essence, this is where healing is. In your essence, this is where things can shift. And meditation also, it's quite soothing, and it helps us be grounded and help us arrive, because some of us are rushing from work, some of us we just switch on because we just got electricity. So I will start to introduce guided meditation. Even when you are on the other side, you can just breathe with me and arrive. So before we speak about building healthy relationships, so just close your eyes for me. Just keep your eyes closed, and I want you to listen to your body and to the thoughts that come up when I repeat particular statements. And I'm going to repeat it several times. So just some of them I'll say in Guni, and unfortunately I can't say them in any other language, because T's and C's apply on these social platforms. So please close your eyes, don't type, don't write, just close your eyes for me and listen to my voice. Amadoda izinja, banna kidinja. Amadoda izinja, banna kidinja. Basadi ba rata tjhelete, abafazi bathanda imali. Hello, Mubi. Hello, beauty. Hey, sweetie. Hey, love. Hola, mapebes. Eta, pakisto. Hi, angfuni. I said a few words. So I want you, when I said Amatota Izinja, what came up to your body? What was there? What are the things? How did your body respond? What are the thoughts that came up? So you can come back and open your eyes. And if you've just joined, just follow the threads. So no asking questions, just respond. I just said a couple of words. So when I was saying what came up for you when I said that? Feeling, okay, Undlele got scared, okay. Tato became uncomfortable, okay. Nomusa felt pain, okay. Mbali Enga, okay. Mawawa, your heart was banging, fear, Uh, okay. So somebody, the mother of their kids came into mind. Um, Tulani felt shocked and scared. Okay. Abanye bathi vele. Okay. You smiled. Okay, good. Annoyed. You said yes. You felt cold. You got irritated. Okay. And when I said basadi barata chelete, women love money. Abafazi bathanda imali. What came up for you? Yeah. When I said that, when I spoke about women, Itumeleng smiled. Okay. Toja said yes, yes. Newa was irritated. Lelo was confused. Babalwa laughed. Okay, Kilebkhulu was, yes. Kelly was uncomfortable. Paul, there was happiness. No, I'm not asking. We're not analyzing. I'm just asking. Your D laughed. Okay. So a variety of feelings and thoughts came to our minds, right? And I even said, "Eta, Wola, sweetie, love, Pakisto," right? So basically, okay, you can stop commenting on how you felt. It was just an exercise to actually, help you see how our relationships are shaped. So we want to build healthy relationships. Everyone's intention is to build a healthy relationship. So everyone needs someone first. Everyone needs someone. So from when we leave our mother's womb, our yearning and our need is to be loved, because the human beings thrive in relationships with others. We thrive when we are connecting, when we are communing, when we are in unionship, when there is a unionship, when there's a union between you and somebody else. So we thrive. And that relationship and how we build relationship gets formulated from the relationships we have with the people, early people in our lives, meaning our parents. So the relationship with you, your relationship with your mother, the relationship with your father, sets a tone for how you're going to have relationship with the rest of other things in the world, your lovers, your friends, your family, your money, your food, your shopping habits. So all of those relationships, how you are in relationship with them, they basically have been informed about by how you have had a relationship with your parents. So our brains, meaning our brains are not just our psychology, they are also our biology, because they are important parts of our function, of our health. So when we are born, our brains are wired to connect. They are wired to be in connection, because in connection, we are able to thrive. In connection, we are able to be abundant. In connection, we are able to manifest. In connection, our best self emerges. Yet, when we experience stress, right, or things that are stressful, and there are particular stresses that are needed for our growth, because, for example, when a child is hungry, what do? They cry, right? That cry is, in a way, it's a way that teaches them that ask for what you need. When you are crying, is because there is a discomfort, and that discomfort needs to be expressed. But then there is healthy stress, and there's unhealthy stress, like when you start a new job and you realize that actually there is new responsibilities, because you're in a new role, so you're gonna get stressed, but that stress is actually stretching you out to a point of growth. Then unhealthy stress is what we call traumas, right? So every one of us, I can tell you, who is in this live stream, you have experienced trauma. When we speak of trauma, we're not only speaking of a once of major, deeply disturbing event that happened in your life. It could be also a built up situation. You could be that child that when you cried, nobody came for you, right? Every time you cried, nobody came for you. Every time you cried, nobody came for you. It'd be like you're tefa, Ay, ay, ay. Miyekele, fanele afunde. But you're a 6 month old. How does a 6 month old atefa? Because a 6 month old agatefi, that's how they communicate. So they communicate their needs through a cry. right? So basically, over a period of time, also, even as minor as it is, for you trying to ride a bicycle, for you running on the streets with your friend, you can trip and fall and you are bleeding and you go home. And when you go home, it's like, what the hell were you doing outside? How many times have I told you not to go and play outside? Look at you now. You see what has happened to you. That could be a deeply disturbing moment for you, right? And trauma can also be too much too soon, and it could be an overwhelming experience with very little resources. I mean, a lot of people went through traumatic experiences during hard COVID, and we would think like, no, we just have to get over it. Anything that actually disturbs our organic way of thinking and processing becomes quite traumatic. And when it becomes traumatic, it turns our brain upside down. Over time, our brain turns upside down. So when we get a stimulus, when we have to process that stimulus or that moment or that experience, right? What happens is we don't go through the processing or the regulating process. We just go into reaction. So we don't respond, because response is when you have thought it through. It comes in as an external input. Somebody shouts, somebody says a word, like when I said the words that I said, you process them and you're like, actually it's just Coco saying the words, this is. But when it starts to trigger something in you, because it triggers something in you, reason being that you've heard those words before, you've experienced those words before, you might not remember, but your body remembers. Because a lot of us find ourselves in unhealthy patterns in relationships. We don't even know where it comes from, because when we go through trauma, we develop certain personality traits, and certain personality traits are actually our shadows. The shadows we develop, it's a way in which we can actually protect ourselves in the midst of those traumatic experiences. So certain shadows that we develop is like, every time when you got a lot of scolding, you start to become a people pleaser, right? Because you people please so you don't have to get victimized. So you are the first to actually say, we do all the right things, because by doing all the right things, in that way, you don't have to be. So you don't even realize that when you are people pleasing, even when you need to say no. So people pleasers don't have boundaries. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because some of us just think, oh my God, I'm just not good with my money. I'm just not good, being in this relationship thing. Jola is showing me flames. It will show you flames, because probably who you think you are is not who you are. Because if trauma rewires your nervous system, which in spirituality we call your light body, so your light body stores memory. So you've got in your light body, there are two parts of that light body: your etheric body. So your etheric body, it's why you are here is stored, right? And your auric body. So when people say your aura, your field, your energy field, but in that you also carry memories of your ancestors. So for a lot of us who are born into, African communities and African families, already when we pass through the womb of our mothers, we inherit our mother's traumas, because there are certain traumatic experiences that our African ancestry, our lineage has experienced, right? We speak of colonization, we speak of apartheid, we speak of genocides that happen, tribal attacks, xenophobic attacks. So you can imagine that even if you might say that I've not actually experienced, but you have, a lot of us as women, by just passing through our mother's womb, we've already, in our mother's womb, we are an energy field. And as an energy field, or as a spirit field, it means that we take on everything. So you see, very gifted people are empaths. They're very sensitive to things. So similar children. Hence, in our culture, a child cannot go outside until a particular time, and certain rituals and rites of passages are done to protect their energy field, to protect them from harm, because they become like a sponge and they absorb. So what your mother went through while she was pregnant with you, all the stresses, all the pain, all the torture, when you are born, it becomes imprinted in you. Because some of you would say that, actually, I don't know why, but when you are looking in your family, no one is married. Because with such traumas that are passed on from one generational trauma, this is where when you go emuntwini ati there's a generational curse, because an unhealed traumatic experience, it gets passed on from one generation to another, and it becomes not a blessing but a curse. Because when it's unhealed, it becomes a hindrance, it blocks, right? It becomes what we call a miasma, a frozen wound. So your mother had a wound and she froze it, but she passed it on to you in her womb. So when you are born, you're already born with those memories, with the pain of what she went through when she conceived you, when you were still in a womb. So already you are born with certain distorted ideologies about how things are, about the worldview, because we formulate our worldview as children through the adults in our lives. So certain things that we are believing in or that we deem to be true, they are not really ours, but they are actually belief systems that have been passed from one generation to the other, and they might not necessarily be true. So even when I said amadoda izinja, it might not necessarily be your own experience, but because that was an experience of your mother through her own interaction with her own father, your own father, and how that relationship went, she formulated that belief system that she passed on to you. So you grow up with that belief system in your subconscious mind. Then how are you going to be in relationship with a man? Because already you've got to believe that men are like that, because of the experience that your mother did. Let's speak about money here. So people always think that, oh no, money, it's not working out because, the current situation in the country, or yes, it's and. But also our relationship with money, it's what we learned when we were growing up. How many of you grew up being told that money is the root of all evil? So when you believe that money is the root of all evil, how are you going to be abundant and prosperous? You see it even in social media, that when people accumulate wealth, especially Black people, they are then referred to as corrupt. And not that they are not corrupt people, but the immediate response is like, how can Gogo as a Sangoma become so successful? Uthwele lo gogo. And you disregard Kutulokoko. Every Thursday comes and does the teachings. Every radio show she gets invited on, she shows up fully. Every event she's invited as a speaker, she prepares, she does this and that. All of those things are disregarded because we believe that money is the root of all evil. So how you accumulated that money must be evil. We believe you are not worthy because some of us have an issue of disability and worthiness. So when we have money, we spend it very quickly. We can't keep it. Then we have bad money habits. Bese uye emntwini athi kunesilwane. Yabona the kunesilwane esukuthathela imali or bayakuthakatha. Let me tell you something, right? Like attracts like. So when you are vibrating lower, you then attract lower vibrating spirits, the parasitical spirits, abathakati, izilwani, and all of those things. So those things do exist, and I'm not saying they don't. But when you go through spiritual healing, also make sure that you rewire your thought patterns, you rewire your beliefs, you change, you heal your belief systems, because we can perform the most powerful cleansing on your body to remove the auric field of the lesosluad, to cleanse you and protect and shield you from that. But if the mind still believes the beliefs that it believes, you will continue to attract lower vibrational frequencies. So lesser sluani is also coming because you don't believe you are deserving of money because of the things that you grew up with. You saw how people misbehaved when they had money, but also it is the collective wound of Black people when it comes to relationship with money. Hence, people take money and they blow it. People earn riches and they lose the riches, because that's a collective wound we have. It is a collective wound we currently have as the generation of this time, of basically not wanting to be in divine union relationships because of the traumas our mothers have experienced at the hands of their husbands, their boyfriends, their fathers. So we are unable to have healthy relationships because not only of the traumas you've experienced in this lifetime, but the traumas experienced before your lifetime, even including your own past lifetimes, because I believe we have many lifetimes. So do you understand how come it is a struggle to build healthy relationships? So no matter what, if you have unhealed traumas and unhealed experiences and unhealed collective traumas, it becomes quite difficult. That's when people can marry and find the lover of their life, but they can't. Let me share a story about some of my traumas. So most of you know the story. I was my first sexual assault experience. I think I was 3 years old. I don't remember really what happened, but I remember what I saw. And then it was when I was 5, where an adult at the time in my life, asked me to yabo ngidlale ngomthondo wakhe, yabo, their thing. And I just like at the time I remember, well, when I did a lentuzan, when I went back to that moment in time, I felt extremely uncomfortable. But when I left, I was kind of like, it's not a big deal because nothing wrong. But my body felt the trauma because our body remembers, right? No matter what our mind can tell us, no matter we can forget, but the body remembers. That's why sometimes people will behave in ways that they can't explain, because when they go through a trigger, the body remembers and the body responds in a way that keeps you safe and protected, even though it's not within your best interest. So when your body remembers the people and the fights that happened at home every time it was payday, how daddy never showed up, or how daddy was always this, or mommy was this when there was a lot of money at home, the body remembers. Because the mistake that people do is that, no, abantwana, these are children, they don't know anything, they don't hear. They do not hear, but our body is louder, speaks much louder. That's why they say actions speak louder than words. Our children don't learn. We didn't learn from our parents by the things they said, we learned by the things they did. So similar, because of the things that they did, they were stored in our bodies. So when we go through particular experiences, our body remember that having money is not safe. There's going to be a fight that's going to erupt. So the minute you get paid, what do? You spend all your money. And then you don't have money to pay for basic necessities, you accumulate debt. Then you are always in a deficit. You are in a deficit, you are in a negative, because it is safer for you to not have. Because there was only peace when it wasn't payday. Come month end, there was always, every time my stepdad was paid, there was so much anxiety in the house. I was a child. I needed to go wait by his workplace to make sure that he comes home and he doesn't disappear. Because every time he got paid, he disappears and he would come home on Monday. Can I just I'm just trying to clean my screen here. Yeah, that's better. My stepdad used to disappear, or he would come home drunk and violence would erupt. So, what did I do? Money was unsafe for me. Every time I made money, I gave it away. Like, I couldn't keep the money because it meant unsafety, it meant violence will erupt. So, do you understand how what you have been through has actually shaped you? So instead of really asking, and this is what Dr. Bruce Perry speaks in his book of What Happened to You, instead of asking what's wrong with you, ask yourself what happened to you. And what happened to you might not be in your cognitive memory because you've blocked it out to keep you safe. It might be sitting there. And how you know what happened to you is that which triggers you is an invitation for your healing. So relationships are important because relationships become our mirrors of unhealed aspects of ourselves. I always say that when somebody agitates you and makes you uncomfortable, there are those traits in you that you do not like about yourself. So when I make you uncomfortable as Goko who speaks English, or as a Sangoma who is living a luxurious life, I'm actually triggering aspects of you that don't feel you are deserving of that life. And that as a healer, you probably were given distorted information about the kind of life you will live, or the belief systems that have been passed on. How many of us grew up with distorted beliefs that isangoma, needs to be looked this way and it can't be this way, and agnamali and fanulukhupeke, and it's a gift you can't. You understand? Those distorted belief systems have not had people have a healthy relationship with their gifts. And in our ancestral traumas and pains, we also make vows, right? We commit to certain things. So when your mother says, I will never marry because marrying a man, this is what it brings, that vow becomes a curse to us because she took her own experience and she made it her children's experiences. And she didn't say it because she wanted to curse you. It was said in the midst of pain, hurt, and distress as a way to protect herself. Because trauma moves us from wanting to connect in relationships and be and protect. So when you are in a relationship to protect yourself, your defenses are always up. And when your defenses are always up, you can't hear to listen. You hear to react. You can't experience. You can only protect. Am I making sense? Is this making sense? So even the things that you admire and aspire towards in other people, they're just basically mirroring your potential and what you are capable of doing. You might just not have the courage to step into that power yet. Because what has happened to us has actually changed and moved us from the essence of who we are. Because in relationship, we seek that which is familiar. This is why people find themselves in toxic, abusive relationships, not because what's wrong with them, it's because that is what is familiar. So I was telling you my story that I grew up in, with that sexual assault, but I grew up with a lot of women, a lot of men assaulting women, and women staying because they saw that as an act of love. And when I made somewhat a vow to myself, like I will never be in a relationship with a man who does that to me. But when I found a man who was gentle, who was soft, who was caring, so that is trauma. To see people being violated and assaulted as a child, you are being violated and tortured yourself, even if those hands are not being laid on you. But no child should be able to witness a somebody go through that, because that's a violation to a child. So that was that violation. But the man who was actually loving and caring and nurturing was my grandfather. I was raised by my grandfather until the age of 13, and then he passed on. But what happened is that it was not his death that was traumatic, it's the fact that I was not allowed to grieve his death, because we are not allowed to go to the funeral. And apparently, it was a family tradition of that time. Fortunately, we have changed that tradition. But up till this day, that is still a big wound that I had to go through. So when I find gentle, loving men and caring men like my grandfather, it's uncomfortable. I think they're going to leave me. I think they're going to abandon me. So I take flight. I run. I run before they leave me. What it means is that I self-sabotage in relationships. I do things so they can walk away and show me that, you're not deserving. Because the 13-year-old me felt like there's something wrong I did to my grandfather. Why did he just die? And why did they not allow me to go to his funeral? Because he raised me. I was raised by him. I shared a bed with him. He made food for me. He was my caregiver. My primary caregiver was my grandfather until he died. And then I stayed a bit with my grandmother. Then I went to stay with my mother. And there was no healthy relationship between me and my mom. But because how we express men treating and loving their women is what we learn what relationships are about. Our brains remember familiar, they don't remember aspiration. So my aspiration could be that, but because it was unfamiliar for me, want to also be in that steady relationship where there was no chaos, where there was no violence, where there was no aggression, my brain was extremely uncomfortable with that. My brain was extremely uncomfortable with that, because then I eventually moved out of that relationship. In my 3 year separation with Kulu, I actually dated, I was in a relationship with 3 men, and 2 of them were abusive. And I stayed as much as I was like, es coco dinero. So basically, none of us are immune, no matter it's whether you are, no matter how much intelligent you are, how much all knowing you are. At the end of it, none of us are immune, because the things that have happened, trauma has us responding in ways that are not in our favor. But it thinks that we are protecting you, Dinero, at this moment. It's not comfortable for you to stay in a such a soft, gentle in a relationship where you will not be asked, Guti, where have you been? To a point where when I was scared, it would feel like, oh my God, something is going, like my whole body. It wasn't fear, it was excitement, it was exhilarating because I grew up with so much aggression and so much violence. So violence felt like a familiar world. So do examine your expectation of the people you want. Is this really you, or is this a programming that is running? Because even the whole thing about, Amatota Izinja, it's a programming. They were born into that programming, right? And who programmed them? The adults in their lives. So we gotta change that as this generation. Abafazi Batandi man, it's a programming that we are born that this is the type of man who's going to be able to be good for you, a man who can provide for you financially, a man who can do that. So some of us love providing for ourselves, but what we need is a man who can actually nurture, because maybe to nurture is not what a man who is more nurturing, a man who spends more time with you, a man who is there, who shows up for the kids. So you can't want him to bring 80% of the income and do 80% of the other stuff, because a relationship is a partnership. So we are all contributing for the wellness and the health of this relationship. So you can't just want, most of us have such a long list of demands. We can't even, often you want somebody who's financially independent, but when you don't even have a bank account, but you want one with a fat bank account. How are you going to attract that? And you stay in such in crazy abusive relationship because somewhat they said to you, money will create security, you know Okay, let me take some questions. I've been talking, so I've given like a huge overview, and in the following teachings, I will probably break it down and focus on a specific topic. I just wanted to unpack how come you are not able to have a healthy relationship, because even at work, right, because the people you work with, you are in relationship with them, so how they behave towards you, they're gonna trigger aspects of you that have been hurt before, so your defenses always go up. Remember, when you go through trauma, your brain doesn't know how to self-regulate, so you move from a stimulus. Yeah, but there's fire, and the fire in you is death. So you flight. Lemuntapo says, Coco, this is a free therapy to us. Coco, thank you, Coco. I will not be able to teach and give everything, but my intention here is to create enlightenment so that you can understand why you're feeling stuck and why things are not working out. We tend to give so much power to the external, and that's the collective black trauma. Because remember, we went through long-term oppression where others made us believe that they were more powerful than us. Hence, for us, it is yeah, it's easy for us when things are not working out. Bayang tagata. No, this one is doing this. No, it's them. It's not about like, and how do you begin now that you know? Then you start doing the work, and you can't just do the work on your own. That's very helpful, reading, understanding about trauma, but also invest in a practitioner that's going to help you heal and go back into a healthy state. I mean, I was reading Dr. Levine's books because I want to sign up for somatic therapy work. And it was interesting when he said that we think that trauma is psychological. It's not, it's biological, because your trauma changes your health altogether. Some of you have health problems. How many of us are struggling with heartburn right now and stomach acid? And we would just think, oh no, man, it is just, it is just the food I eat. Yeah, but you eat those food because they are soothing. Unhealthy food releases happy hormones, right? I think it's endorphins. Yes. So they give us healthy hormones. So some of us use food as a soother. because when we eating, it makes us feel good in that moment. But the food that makes us feel good are processed food, because they add all those chemicals that make us feel good at that time. So yes, probably your food, but do you know that also unprocessed anger, that's why I'm ngiyabila, ngiyabila. We unprocessed anger really manifests itself as digestive problems. Those of you who are struggling from tonsillitis, throat infections, your inability to speak your truth because you were shut out the moment you needed to speak against something as a child, and they said these things are not spoken, or they were pushed under the carpet. Do you understand? So our health problems are also connected to our traumas. So that's why we can't say it's just psychological. It is biological, because it shifts, it changes our brain. I mean, a lot of scientists and psychiatrists have been doing a lot of research. Your whole brain changes, and when your whole brain changes, it means your whole biology changes. So as I take questions, those of us who went through trauma, our personality traits change. Like I said, there are people pleasers, there are overachievers. So overachievers is the people, you only got praise at home when you did good. You never got attention for anything. It's only when you brought a passing mark from school, that's when your mother gave you attention. So those are people who are overachievers, because constantly needing to achieve. So you were never good enough except when you did right by somebody else's eyes, right? These are, and then the savers and the people pleasers, I've explained that the people with the Hydro syndrome, we also call it a ego pathology, the metias, the ones because they were never seen, so you will only see, it's people pleasers, and it's you did things to get out of trouble. You pleased other people to get out of trouble. These are some personality traits. These personality traits are formed by our trauma responses, because remember, those responses kept us safe. It kept us safe from harm. There are four ones. There is fight, flight, which mostly people know. I'm sure people will know. The flight is a runaway, is that when the tough gets going, I move. I don't want to engage, because that's how I kept safe. And the fight is the defender. People who would fight, they become defensive, and then they attack, because defense is an opposite of an attacker. When you are because it's like, not me, you, not me, you, right? And then there is people pleasers, which is fawning, and there's freeze, like people who just go into a freeze. The ones who would go and give us the silent treatment, who would ghost you and not talk to you. So understand that, because relationships, a healthy relationship brings the best aspects of yourself. When you see people who've done very well in life financially, they always have a companion, a strong partner by their side. And you see how most people, the minute they go outside the sacredness of their union and they bring another person, their empire starts to collapse. I don't need to mention names, but a lot of people who have built a lot of things, their empires collapse. I almost collapsed when I moved away from Kulu. There was a lot that was happening in my life. I still showed up, but there was a lot collapsing behind the scenes, because I moved away from my divine union partner. Because we think with a romantic relationship always have to feel good, no, it is peaceful, it is content. You don't always have to be on the edge. Okay, let me take questions. Okay, I'm gonna start from Usizagele. Says, thanks Coco for pointing out the fact that most of us, if not, have all been through certain trauma. All of us, it's Khatebe, it's Makhatebe, all of us have been through trauma. I even explained Duguti, even an inherited generational trauma. Huli says, Tawaza Coco, how do you recommend we raise our vibration after getting a cleansing for Islo and Iskrit, etc., and how one can heal from the trauma of being a victim of witchcraft? That's very true. So basically, it's, in order for you to heal your traumatic experiences, it means rewiring, right? To rewire, it means starting to input give yourself new input, give yourself new messages, because they always say you are what you think. But remember, you are what you think, and what you think is not only your thoughts, is the thoughts of your ancestors. So basically, it'd be really good to get somebody to work with you, Kulu, who's going to be able to see where is the victim pathology coming from. So the trauma, because in your traumatic experiences, you developed an ego pathology of victimhood in your family that's been passed on from one generation to another. So you need to be able, and normally I recommend people who do like spiritual, even people. I'm not a psychologist. I do inner child healing. I do life coaching. I do spiritual coaching, and then I coach couples in relationships, because those are the things I've got training and experience in. I'm not a clinical psychologist, right? Some people, when they see me, I say to them, you need to see a psychologist before you do, because coaching is when I help you heal yourself. I help you heal yourself. So there are tools and processes. So there's a lot of work that's being done, versus when you come to a psychologist, we sit and you talk about what happened to you. No, I don't just talk. We actually even we go back and access your aspects of yourself. So those aspects of yourself can tell you what happened to you. So your inner child, your 5-year-old, your 15-year-old, yourself before this lifetime can come and show you what happened, why you are struggling with what you're struggling. That's the work that I do. But some people, because there's just a huge cloud, there's a lot of emotional pain and mental distress, then we send them for counseling, to go see a counseling psychologist or a clinical psychologist. Then they come to me, because even when you come, I ask, what kind of work have you done? Because this is kind of diving deeper into the work. So you need to have some foundation before we can do the deeper diving work. But if there's people who have come here, who've done this work with me, they can attest to say that it is really powerful work, because you get to recall. I mean, I did work with a almost 60-year-old man who was struggling with a relationship. This was a family relationship with his children, and he felt like, yeah, but he never was never home, because he worked so hard, because he grew up poor. And and he thought that if he has enough money, his kids will not have to suffer. But he didn't realize that his kids felt abandoned because they never had a father. And when we were working with him, after I did the family first session, I said I want to do one-on-one sessions. And when I did, and in his almost 60s, he met his 5-year-old, where he got brutally beaten up by his father because he got into a fight with, this was during apartheid, with some white kids, and he got blamed for it. So that set his trajectory in terms of how he is going to be as a man, and how he is going to raise his kids. So that moment, that incident was deeply traumatizing to him, that it changed his worldview and everything. And this was a 60-year-old. But this work was too scary for him. He couldn't continue. He couldn't. It was deeper work, because all he wanted was just for his kids to respect him, and didn't understand that respect has to be earned. And he just wanted me to sit there and say, no, you are right, because he would physically also, and emotionally and psychologically uh, violate his adult kids. But he wanted me to say, no, you're wrong. Just be grateful. Your father worked very hard, and they are grateful. But he couldn't hear it. He couldn't hear that they're grateful, but he couldn't hear the little kids in them to say, Daddy, we needed you to be there for Christmas. We needed you to drop us off at school. These things that we think don't matter. So if you need your husband or your man to come with a 6-digit figure, by doing that, will he be able to drop off kids at school? My kids don't have a driver. They don't want. They love. We rotate. It's then there are moments when I'm busy. Then my assistant goes and picks up my kids. But most of the time, every morning I drop the other kids, and then Kulu drops the other kids, and then we do the pickup rounds. And then there are times where we are stuck in meetings or in Dumbain, but it's not an everyday. So we don't have those things, because for them it's a moment and a time where it's they feel seen, and loved. And not every parent has a luxury to do that. Trust me, there are ways in which you can still make your children feel seen and loved without actually having to, because we think that by buying our kids expensive things and doing those things, it's what they need. No, it's what they want. And need is is that I am still learning even how to come home, and do certain things. And it's like one of the things I really push for is we have dinner every day as a family, not all the time, but at least 3 times a week, that Papa is there and Mama is there, and we're sitting and we're talking. Like even today, I had a long conversation with them. This morning, they asked me because we got them a trampoline to come watch them, and I said, they said yesterday, I said, I'll watch you. So I was a bit late for work because I said for 5, 10, 15 minutes watching them do black backflips on the trampoline. These little things mean a whole lot for kids, a whole lot, you know. Taking my daughter to Starbucks is like she was like the best thing ever. But it was not about Starbucks. It was about her experiencing something her friends have been telling her about with her mother. And then we have once a month dates. So tomorrow I'm taking them out for waffle treats, but it's not doing, and this is what my kids are, it's not doing waffles while I'm chatting on my phone. It's putting my phone away and enjoying the waffle with them. It's sitting there and enjoying the drink with them, even though yes, you want to take a picture for the gram and stuff, but be careful not to spend so much time taking pictures for the gram. Sometimes I don't even show. I used to take videos, but sometimes I go and I don't show the world because I was just doing it to show that it is possible for you to do this, um, be a working mom and find time for your children. And those who are sangomas, our work is very demanding. My kids go with me mgiti every weekend. When I have mgiti, my kids are there, but it's all, and then I have a caregiver who looks after my kids because I won't be able to have my eyes on them 24/7. Please remember, I hope this has been useful. If it has been, please remember to like, subscribe, and share to as many people who need to do this. It didn't go in detail, but now you know, Wuti, what is going on and how you, because once you know why, you can start to think of the next steps. Because some of us will think, oh no, building a relationship only starts with you. No, it starts with you. The first thing is to build a healthy relationship with yourself. Understand who you are. Understand your own triggers, because once you know, you also know how to build boundaries, because boundaries from childhood. Uh, oh, oh my God, Khatebe, your question just disappeared from me. Sorry about that. Nonhlanhla Zwane says, Thokozako, can I ask a question on how can one heal after losing a child and then the relationship collapse? Then you get into a relationship again after some time. Then it turns out that the previous boyfriend's thing it doesn't work. Oof, that you've given me too many things. I don't know. Just ask me one question. Losing a child is one of the most traumatic experiences, so you really can't move from that to conceiving as well. I know that because I had a miscarriage. So it's a very painful thing, because they are a part of you. They are part of, it's like a part of you dies with death, actually, death of loved ones. So it's you need to be able to go through the process of, all what they say, the 5 stages of grief. So you need to be able to do that. Sometimes when we go through grieving, we want to go into, even moving from one relationship to the next very quickly. It's a trauma response. It's like you don't want to sit in pain. When you go through a heartbreak, it's recommended you go through a break to heal the heartbreak, because you need to understand as well about what happened, what was your contributing factors, because if you don't heal it, you'll keep on attracting it, just in different bodies. Have you seen how many of you have attracted like almost the same kind of person, but just in different bodies, different shapes, different colors, but it's the same person, the same personality traits, same struggles you had in the last relationship. So sometimes, instead of saying, oh my God, all these people are the same, the common denominator here is you. Awakwe is saying, you are speaking to my soul now. Togoza Koko. Wash hands, wash hands. Clap amatsoho. Okay. Lesego Mazimo says, Togoza and Koko, thank you so much. I'm losing you due to network. I've been with you since the beginning. Okay. I will save the life. Yes, I do understand, because of network, because of load shedding, we might be losing some people. Yes, please go back and listen to this, and then do ask me questions on the comment section. I might not be able to get to all of them, especially because there's a lot of comments, but do ask. When I do, I will be able to get to them. And do make topic suggestions as well. Next follow-up question, topic suggestions. And if you want a Q&A, so this is a generic Q&A question, or we can have Q&A on relationship, Q&A on the calling, Q&A on street, or we can do different ones. Okay. Oh, Lindo Mkiza says, thank you so much. This was refreshing, helpful. How do we heal from these hurtful traumatic experiences so we heal forward? I think I touched on that. Ufezek Amshengu Shabalala says, Togoza Koko, thank you so much. It was helpful. I saw somebody ask if I do online. Yes, I do online. I do online coaching. And that's nice, especially. And I'm going to start also accommodating because hey, I have a backlog of international. So I'm going to start creating a little space of consultation. So online I do them, but it will have to be after working hours, like from around about 8 o'clock, because that's when I'm done with dinner with the kids. So it will be that time of night, 8 o'clock South African times. How do you deal with a guy cheating on you but treating you in a good way, showing you love? No, cheating, Claudia, is not that's not it's not showing you love. It's actually basically that's a trait of when people abuse you. They abuse you and they soothe you, right? They put a bandage over to say, Mara, you see, I love you very much. You see, now if you do that. So ask yourself, Uguti, what has happened in your childhood that has accepted you. No one should actually accept being cheated on and it's not your fault. It is never your fault. So there's no love in somebody else giving aspects of themselves, because that which they share with another woman is part of you. So you didn't consent for your part to be shared because they come and become intimate with you. So it means that you are sharing them with others. That's not love. I think it's also what I spoke about when I said these early messages and childhood belief systems about no, but as long as don't worry, all men are that way. No, we are not going to be talking like that, because that has breed a toxic society, and we are unable to stay in healthy relationship because we just want to continue perpetuating the stereotypes and assumptions and these belief systems. If they don't serve our generation, we are the generation to heal them. Do you mean how do you deal with bipolar in relationship? I don't know what you mean. It's uh yes. Toza Koko, the twin flame relationship, is it real thing or trauma based? This is interesting. Twin flame relationships can also be trauma bonded relationship, because you see there are different kinds of relationships. Maybe this is a topic for another day. I'll do part two, but right now I want you just me to go on my YouTube channel. There is a video on soulmates or soul connection relationships, and I explain the different kinds of relationships, because spiritual relationships, there are relationships that have come into our life for a specific season, or they came for a specific reason. They are deep, they are flammable, like there's an instant connection because that soul you have actually attracted in that moment of your time to awaken you to the next path you are supposed to journey on. So it might feel romantic, but it might not necessarily be romantic. A lot of people in trauma bonded relationships have found it confusing because they think this is my twin flame. Because a trauma bonded relationship is that you are attached to them because they feel familiar to past experiences that you've had. So a lot of people who also have been through traumatic experiences and abusive relationships growing up, they find themselves in abusive relationships with others. And because emotional and psychological and financial abuses doesn't leave visible scars, well, finances might be broke, but the scars are not visible and evident to everybody else, then it becomes really quite hard for people to be like, am I in a, is this relationship? Is it, but the minute you question and you start to Google your relationship, something is amiss. The minute you start to Google what's going on your relationship, something is amiss. When it feels off, something is definitely off. I wouldn't know, from just what you're saying. I think you're sharing your story. Uh, Klapo says, okay, Makosin, how do you keep a healthy co-parenting relationship where you meet? Oh my God, your questions just leave. Why do they should leave me? Okay, let me say show. Oh, I just learned a new trick. Do you see? How is that, guys? I can just put that, remember I'm new to this, I can put your question there. So yes, next week let's do Q&A, because this is nice. I don't have to read the questions. I can press it and it can show. How do you deal with rejection in a relationship where you meet someone, have a connection, become intimate, and never hear from them ever? They become cold towards you as if you don't exist. Yeah, for them it was dead. Fly by night. Fortunate it was. There was not that. There was no relationship. There was a moment. So you heal your, you probably had expectations and probably what was said in that moment, because when moments are beautiful, we say things, to keep the moment beautiful, but a moment does not mean a lifetime. So yeah, you need to understand that when somebody says they don't want to be in a relationship, you can't force it, because that's how you start to target, eh? That's how abantu sebaqala basebenzisa ichitho and all of those things. Okay, I can't see any more questions, tribe members. They went all so fast, and some of them are very long, and I know you're trying to give me as many details as you can. So, yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I have qualified for, what is it? Uh, I think for people who can, like, I don't know what it's called. I'll figure it out, but where you pay like a certain donation. So I'm gonna open. I'm still finding out and registering for that, where you pay donations. So for those people who would pay like a monthly donation, like 80 rands a month, for me to do this work, because it does help. So you will be given certain preferences. So I will be able to bring you on the live with me. So you will get the link to come on the live. So let's say you say, Coco, yeah, I can't afford to do this, but I've got a lot of questions. I've got like 10 dreams I need translating with. So you get an opportunity to come on the live and then ask about that. It's a nice exchange. It's a nice exchange. But it's not really that everything will be fixed, but you'll get deeper, more personalized insight. And of course, you come in, you need to consent, because I'm going to save the life. So you don't do this if you don't want to be seen. You probably would do it uh, when you don't mind being showing here. So let's yeah. What happens when a partner cheats and all they say is sorry? What happens, pet, is you decide. It's your relationship, it is your life. And yes, it doesn't mean that, I've been in a relationship, I've cheated in a relationship, my husband has cheated in a relationship. You just gotta be willing to do the work that has led you astray, because you can't just want to let it go, because you're gonna find yourself again in that moment, because something happened in the relationship that made you it feels it's better to go and find comfort somewhere else. It's better to go and find validation somewhere else. So sorry is good, but sorry without action is not sorry. And I can't decide for you. We all have our own principles, we all have our own standards. So I can't tell you to leave someone. I can't tell you, yes, it's membership of viewers. Yes, yes, yes. No, I think that's what it is, right? Yes. I'll figure it out, but you will see it when you go on my YouTube channel. Unfortunately, for Facebook people, you will need to subscribe for you to get this tool. So basically, when I do dreams and people pay for the dreams session, then we will have to do it live, because it's at a much lower rate than my standard rate. So this one is like, you get to experience my work one-on-one, and then it needs to be shared on this platform, because this platform is for teaching, um but at let's say at a discounted rate. Uh but it means that you will be live with me. That's what it means. So if you need privacy and confidentiality, then don't come, because spirit will lead me and you'll come here and I'll start to do some process work with you, and you'll be like, oh, Coco, I didn't want to get there. So everyone that comes in, basically, who does that, I'll ask, do you consent for your, for you to, for this to be saved, and you'll say yes. So you'll have to give me consent, and you don't have to come and claim royalties, because soon and soon I will be I am a billionaire. Yeah, I'm affirming that I deserve to be a billionaire. We need to also, all of us, affirm life into our lives, affirm positivity, but affirmations don't work sometimes, because we have deeply you have deeply distorted belief systems that are in our psyche. So because our psyche has been rewired, our psyche has been shifted and changed, so we are not operating from our organic orders, we are operating from our inorganic orders. So affirmations, sometimes that's why they don't work. When you just say, oh, love and light, I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich, no, but your body says no, you're not. When you try to do an affirmation, it's yo, I'm beautiful, and you're like, yo, wena, ooh, that's why, every time I have to look myself in the mirror, I'm like, I'm beautiful. And then it's like, with that big nose, with that big nose. Who said that? Who told me my nose is big? Because I didn't just take that from anywhere. My uncle. Throughout my life, I was told that I've got an ugly, big nose. I was bullied for my nose, that it finishes oxygen. I was bullied for my, every part of my body that was large, from my, amabele wami, you know, my everything. I was like, because I'm built like that. So do you think, Guti, that belief system? So that child, the inner Maria who was told you to move, be bigger, your big nose. So if the adult is say, ooh, big nose, I know I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful, pain and work and heal her, and I reparent her, and I, as Dineo, work with her. So even if Dineo might want to believe she's beautiful, but inner Maria, inner Ringi, so Ringi is my inner teen, Maria is my inner child, that those little me don't believe it. And because they don't believe it, they come in the way of what I'm trying to believe. You can't build from a broken slate. You can't build, you can't shift things from the very same things that have created the problem. When they say that you cannot, if this cup, you can't pour into a full cup. So that's exactly what it's like. So your inner childhood experiences, yes. Katlego, did you just buy the super sticker? Because it says 35 red super sticker. Did you just buy it? Is it the super stickers on now? Are they on? Please tell me. Don't just like about to be excited right now. So please tell us that, because you also use a lot. So with super stickers, your comments comes to the top. Your questions take priority, and I give out shout outs, and so basically it's kind of like, oh yes, you bought it, right? Did you buy it? Okay, Katlego is part of the tribe. Please, tribe members, yes, I see, but it means you bought the super sticker. Yes, and I see that it bled out all the other comments, Katlego, and put yours on top now. So just say yes, you bought the super stick. So when you're like this, so when it feels like it's a full cup, right? So when you are pouring, it will spill. So when you are trying to say, I am beautiful, I am great, I am good, oh yes, they are on, and all I see now is your comments, because you got a super sticker. That's amazing. I can't see people's comments. So you know now how super stickers. So you buy a super sticker, you ask me your question. Next week, make sure you buy your super stickers, because if you've got very important questions, you're gonna get a priority. So yes, so when you're doing this, let me actually demonstrate, right? Without messing up my computer. So you say, I am beautiful. Uh, let's go like this. I am great. I am the it. What happens? Do you see? Okay. Do you see? You can see. Let me do that. See, I'm trying to put things, right? But what am I building on? I'm building on something that is already full of things. I'm trying to throw things, but there's deeply disturbing things that are sitting there in my psyche. So even if I am trying, uh yeah, no, oh, thank you for your efforts. Gave me 7. Thank you. Yes, you can make donations. Yes, please. Yes, thank you for your efforts. Remember when I started and people, when I couldn't go and I'm like, hey, data, and people would send me money for data and things like that. Really appreciate it. It's an exchange, and be blessed back. They will really appreciate the $70. It does go a long way. It will go into paying the Wi-Fi. So that's basically what happens, guys. So why your you know why affirmations don't work, because already there's a lot there that's going on, because it kind of like your body remembers how it felt when it was told, and it recorded that yeah, that's all. Let me block this person. Lambona Mar, guys, Siviwe Zola, no, and felt a strong energy. Siviwe is a sangoma. When I lose the fake sangoma. Oh, Modimo wak. These fake healers on Facebook. Oh my god. Oh my god. I don't even know how to block these comments. Yeah, block user. I've blocked him. You know. Siviwe is my assistant, and she's a sangoma. Ubonile one day what they said. How does one find clothes with one to trust her with my whole heart, then things don't work out, still blaming myself because the person was training me didn't do the right things. Yeah, you need to also heal from that. Or maybe I block the wrong person? Block user. User was blocked. Delete comment. Yeah. Okay. It says I lost connection to Facebook. Sorry, my Facebook tribe. Is my YouTube tribe still here? Yes, Mark, you can visit GokuKnow. YouTube is still here. Says I lost connection. So thank you so much, Katlecho. Thank you, everyone. So the stickers are on. Yeah, we are building this. Hey, this is how we building. We building. We really are building. Yeah, I'm changing the topic by healing. Yes, I just changed the topic tone. Thank you, guys. I don't know if I lost network connection or what's going on. Yes, remember to like the video, remember to subscribe. It will put your notifications on. So thank you very much. We're gonna end it here before it becomes too long of a stream, but we'll see you next week. I'll see you next week Thursday. And I saw somebody ask about chakras. Somebody asked for a Q&A. So yeah, we do a Q&A and just buy stickers, because when you buy a sticker, thank you. You bought a super sticker. Thank you so much, Lucy. Yes, I'm so excited. My first sticker. So let's see if next week it does give you. So let's test the super stickers next week and do the Q&A. Yes. Oh, love you too. Makeba, ngiyabonga, Thandekile Zulu. So thank you so much, guys. Let's call it a night. Night.